Hello, hello, hello. Welcome. We're live. I'm trying this new thing here with mobile, so I'm actually on my phone. Uh, Bear with me. I've never, I shouldn't say never. I've gone live on my phone before, but not very often. So we're going to do our best here. So yeah, today, guys, I'm live on my phone because we're actually going to go around and feed and have a look at everything we got going on here. I do it about once a year, a full fish room tour. Sometimes I think it's been a video in the past. Oh, awesome, Terry. Good, good, good. Glad my sound's good. I'm using my little fancy microphone here, so hopefully that's going good. And thank you for accepting the moderator position, Terry. You're on here all the time, so I figure why the heck not? There's not a whole lot to do around here anyways. So I'm going to go around and kind of show you guys some stuff that you've seen before and some stuff maybe you haven't seen, like my rotifer and phytoplankton setup I have for breeding my clownfish. Maybe I haven't shown some of my clownfish that I've been pairing off. Just different stuff. Some of my shrimp, I don't even show my shrimp very often. And maybe some upgrades and different things I got going on in the room here that help make my life a little bit easier in the fish room. So don't know how many people will get on. This is a busy time of night. Lots of live streams going on, and I'm the low guy on the totem pole for live streams. So if you're able to make it, great. If not, catch the replay after. You might actually learn something. That's something I've noticed with live streams too. Like, I try to be more educational than anything. I don't have an overwhelming personality or I got a boring monotone baritone voice. So yeah, so we do what we can. Hopefully my fish speak for themselves, and we'll go from here. So like I said, bear with me. I'm mobile, as you can see. I'm going to figure out how to flip this camera. Whoops. Flip this camera to the back side, I guess, is what I'm trying to do. Whoops. Camera. Maybe I have to flip the whole thing upwards here to do this. Okay. Mic, camera. No, it just sends it there. Sorry, guys. Like I said, give me 1 sec. We'll go ahead and set it. Ah, we found it. Back camera. Back. Done. Okay. Here we go. Here we go. Hello, Fish Onyx. Hello, Green Reef. Anybody else I don't see here? I use StreamYard, and it's a little bit slow with the comments coming in. But I guess first we'll go over some of the things in my fish room that make life easier for all you that are hockey fans. We now have cable in the fish room, so I can watch my hockey games and stay down here. That's very, very important. Go Flyers. Boo Buffalo. So we'll come over here first. And this is my unorganized mess area. And I keep a lot of my medications and water additives and stuff like that over here. Just basically everything. Most of my water change stuff. This is my dedicated laundry. My RO system. And my RO holding, water holding bucket. This stuff's all very important here. Everything in here I use. I keep, this thing's pretty good. I don't keep it very organized, but like, it's just full of fish stuff. All my bags. I got air bubblers. I go rooting through here like a maniac when I'm looking for something because I can never find anything because I'm unorganized. But it's all here. I got tools. I got more equipment here. And then right to the left of it, and I'll try not to pan too fast. Like I said, I don't go live with handheld very often here, but this is my phytoplankton and rotifer setup, and just some storage above it. I keep my prime up there, I keep bleach up there, and patching equipment and whatnot. And but this right here is literally, if you're into breeding clownfish or breeding any marine fish, really, you're lost without this. You're lost. You're a sitting duck, won't get anywhere. So let's have a little closer look at it. Down here, this is how I used to do, and I still do. I have a very good culture going in these buckets, but this is how I've always done my rotifers. You can't see much in the buckets, but believe me, that is absolutely teeming with rotifers. Absolutely teeming. I'll take a little jug here, fill it up a bit. We'll put it in front of some light. Maybe you guys can see it. I'm not sure if you can. Very hard to see. They're very, very small. There you go, if it'll focus. There you go. That's all rotifers, people. That's all rotifers. Very, very thick. So that's just one little scoop out of the rotifer bucket. Now, some of you might ask, well, why stop doing it that way if you're having success with it? I've had a lot of failures with it too, with the buckets. Main reason being is I can't see what's going on in them. You can't see what's going on, and I hate not being able to see what's going on. It drives me nuts. So I decided to put my rotifers into a 10-gallon tank. There you go. It's going to focus for us a bit here, I think. Again, hard to see. Maybe we'll try this way if it'll focus. I just greened the water with phytoplankton, so it's very hard to see in it, but trust me when I tell you that there is probably, I'd say, I don't know, 7-8 million rotifers in this tank. So that keeps me going. And this is what a rotifer culture looks like when it's crashed. I stopped paying attention to this rotifer culture, and this is what it ends up like. I just got to clean it out, bleach it out, start over again. And this is my phytoplankton culture. This is awesome. I just started doing phytoplankton. My friend Trevor got into it, and he started passing phyto my way, and then I started doing it. I got some fertilizer for it. Really, I really like it. I was just buying like RG Complete and Rotogrow Plus to feed my rotifers. But to be totally honest, I'm way, way happier with doing this the old natural. My baby clownfish are better for it too. Now, this one here is going to teach everybody a lesson. It sure taught me a lesson. And this one used to be a phytoplankton culture, but something I've learned and some things I'm going to have to change around here is I think I'm going to have to start keeping my phyto far away from my rotifers, because I contaminated this phyto rotifers. Takes 2 rotifers. As soon as you have 2 rotifers, before you notice it, you have 500,000 rotifers, and they will destroy your colony, and your phytoplankton culture is absolutely no good after you've got rotifers in it, because they will just eat it all. So that's something I'm going to look at in the future here, and that is separating my phytoplankton cultures totally away from my rotifer cultures. So when this one darkens up a bit more, this phytoplankton culture darkens up a bit more, I will start this jug with it and continue the flow. So far, so good. And I like this setup. I like these containers. These containers work so good for it. I can just put a little hole in the lid, and when I need some, I literally just pull the container forward and pour it into a bottle out the spigot, and it works. Absolutely awesome. Absolutely awesome. So yeah, that's my phytoplankton and rotifer culture area. And again, this is probably the most important thing I can have in my fish room for breeding clownfish. Some other creature comforts. If you're doing tanks, setting tanks up all the time, need levels around. Keep a couple different levels around. Two-step, really important. And a fridge. This is a new fridge to me because my old one cropped out. I actually damaged it during cleaning it. There's not a whole hell of a lot in here. Some RG complete. Some this is the fertilizer for the phytoplankton right here. It's called Gillard's F2. And this was given to me by my friend Philip. Some other things you'll find in here. A lot of my clownfish foods require refrigeration. So they go in here. I keep when I make rapashi, I keep it in here. Terry, I already drank the beer. Believe me, there was beer in here. It goes way faster than it gets restocked. Trust me. Trust me. The other thing I keep in here, and this one's probably dead. Good idea for me. It is dead. Good idea for me would be to start labeling these with a date. I'd say this one's dead too. But your rotifers can actually go in the fridge and keep for about a week without going bad. Yeah, this one might still be okay, actually. This one might be okay, but I really should empty these out and put them in. Now, why would I, if I always have rotifers, why would I put them in the fridge? Well, I put them in the fridge because if your culture crashes, you got a backup. Bottom line, there's a backup. So that's why I put cultures in the fridge. And that way, if I do get a crash, hopefully I got enough for a backup to get me restarted. That's about it. I'll pan. This room here. We're going to go in just a sec because I have some clownfish larvae in there that are just getting into metamorphosis right now. So we'll have a quick look at them and we'll feed them as well. But we'll pan around the room a bit just so you got an idea. There's my studio where I'm normally sitting and talking to y'all, spewing out all kinds of verbal diarrhea. And as we go around, this is the rest of the room. Over this way, this is how you get out of my dungeon basement. And I just keep a few things over here. Right here's my newest clownfish larvae tank that I just got finished. I cleaned it up, resealed it, and I painted it flat black all sides because I'm quite content in just looking from up top into the tanks for the larvae. You have to, if the larvae have clear glass, they're not good judgment. They don't have good judgment on which way's up, to be honest with you. So if they see light coming in through the side, they'll start banging their heads off the side of the glass until they either kill themselves or deform themselves. So I just keep it blacked out all the way around. The only light coming in is from the top, and they know that way's up. And when they go up to the top, they don't hurt themselves at all. So there's the quick and dirty of the layout of the room. The room's changed a lot over the last I think we've been here almost 4 years. So yeah, let's head in and have a look at our newest. I'm going to talk quietly in here because I don't like to spook them, but we'll have a look at our newest clownfish larvae. Here they are. These guys are 10 days old, coming along absolutely beautifully. I just did a water change on them, retinted the water, gave them some rotifers to munch on, and I'll get them some food here for you as we're going to go around and feed everybody as we're going to, because frankly, that's the best time to see all the fish out. These guys don't act a whole lot different from whether you're feeding them or not feeding them, but I'm guessing I have about 30 in here. It was a very small clutch that hatched, but they all seem very healthy, and I'm very, very excited to get through the metamorphosis stage, which is, that's where they are right now, just getting into it. This is like cross your fingers, clench your ass cheeks time with clownfish larvae. If you're going to lose them, it's going to be either before 10 days, or it's going to be through metamorphosis if you haven't kept them that healthy up to that point. So have I been keeping them healthy? Well, one thing, I've fed them a very, very healthy supply of rotifers their entire lives so far. And then I feed them this DO Chroma Boost A. A is the very smallest size you can get. It's a very fine powder. So we'll give them just a little sprinkle. Don't mind the camera shake while I open it. This is a solo operation. We haven't hired a cameraman yet. So, and we're never gonna. So I just literally just take a little sprinkle. Just like that. And they will consume it. They don't necessarily like go freak out and go up and grab it, but when it comes up to their faces, they will consume it, and they have been consuming it. And this stuff stinks. It's got to stay refrigerated, but they like it. They like it a lot. So, and it seems to keep them healthy. So how have we kept these guys healthy so far? So we've fed them good in good water. I just finished, like I said, before the live stream, and I do a 50% water change every single day on this tank. I have 2 air stones, a heater. I keep it at 82 degrees, and you'll notice there's a salt bucket beside me, and that's because when I'm doing my water changes on this, I put a 5-gallon bucket on top of this salt bucket, and I slow drip the water changes in. It takes about half an hour to drip about 3 gallons of water into this tank. So that's it. Wish us luck. Hopefully these guys do really well. So far, we have not had a lot of losses with them whatsoever. So we're hoping that maintains. So we've had a look at these guys. We will now button them up for night. I will come in and feed them one more time before I go to bed. They get 24-hour light, and that's all the light they get. I don't put a lot of light into the tank, just a little wee light like that. I try to feed these guys 6 times a day. So for anybody who is sitting there going, I want to be a clownfish breeder, well, get ready to give up your life, because you'll notice all you're doing is changing water and feeding fish. And that's the cat that hates me but doesn't leave me alone. So I guess for the rest of the room, I got some stuff out here. I got some foods out here that we feed. We got some rapashi. We're going to feed some of the plecos. I got my grinder, my pepper grinder. My pepper grinder is my, yeah, it's great. I love it for feeding my fish. I can adjust the size. I load it up with all kinds of different pellets, mostly North Fin pellets. So there's some North Fin krill in there. There's some North Fin carnivore in there, and there's some North Fin cichlid veggie in there. And this is the Soylent Green rapashi. And most of my fish, honestly, are vegetarian. So we do a lot of veggie feeding around here. If you have any questions about anything as we go here, by all means, just ask it. I might get it a bit late. I noticed this comment messaging system on here is quite slow for me to get them. The last one I got here is from Terry, and it's, wow, they're that big at 10 days old. Yeah, they're that big. They grow about, they're about 4 times bigger than they were when they were born, maybe 5 times bigger than they were when they were born. So I figured the best place to start would be over here, and we'll just work our way around the room like this. And we will get to the clownfish there, Green Reef. But first we'll start with this tank that I really don't pay a whole lot of attention to. To be honest, there is some shrimp in here and just a crap load of plants. Crap load of plants. There's one shrimp there. All my shrimp are Caridinius shrimp. I don't keep any Neocaridinia anymore. Everything I keep is hard to keep. But that's the way I like it. I like the challenge. We have our Lego shark in here, although he's getting buried in the jungle. But this tank is kind of really neat. It's a Disney princess themed tank that my partner, she put it together a couple years ago now, and we've just let it kind of grow wild. And yeah, it is what it is. I should clean it up. I should finish filling it up with water. Our plants are growing right out of the water now. But it's just a 25-gallon tank with just some LED bulbs. Just simple tank, but kind of neat to sit there and look at. Now this bad boy here, this is a 90-gallon, and this is very simply an Ancestress grow tank. That's all I do in here. That's all I have in here is Ancestress. And quite often you'll see a few breeder boxes hanging off of it. And that's for Ancestress as well. All kinds in there. These guys, I actually have the gate off the breeder box. So if they want to slide into the big tank at any time, they can now. They're more than big enough and pretty crowded in there. So yeah, these guys, they're ready to go into the big tank. They know how to find food now. They're all eating well, and this is why I put them in breeder boxes like this when I take them out of the caves, just because I like to get the food right to them, right in their face. They don't really mind being this crowded, and they get all the food they want. So right now, let's give, because you have no idea how many Plecos are in here until you actually feed them, because they are absolutely everywhere in here, hiding all over the place. We got all different sizes. So we'll get some Rapashi, and we'll feed these little guys, and we'll feed these little guys. I like to use these ice cube trays for Rapashi. Just I don't know, just works good, I guess, is what. It's easy to pour into. It's easy to mix. It's just easy to work with, period. So for the little guys, I literally just cut off a chunk like that. And the big guys can actually get the rest of it. They eat a lot. And that's as easy as Rapashi is. Drop it in, and they will find it. They will find it. So we'll come back to this when they're actually mulling the food. It'll take them a couple of minutes to find it. But when they do, everybody will be up front and center. I see Green Reef has a question. Do you have a mix of new salt water and parent tank water for the clownfish larvae at the beginning when they first hatch? I actually don't, Green Reef. I go straight new water. I go straight new salt water. I actually make the salinity a little bit lower than the parent's tank. When I start my larvae, I actually start them at 1.020. Which is quite a bit less. I have corals in my tank upstairs where the parents are, so my salinity is a little higher up there. But the new babies, they actually prefer the lower salinity water. So I keep their tanks between 1.0, 1.020 and 1.022. Look at that, they already found it. In like dirty shirts. There's that golden one Steve Steve Langley's tanking right there. He gets right in. There's some green dragons in here. There's browns. There's goldens. There's albinos. There's yeah, there's long fins in here. There's everything in here, but I like using big water for growing some of these guys out because I can do big water changes. I can put lots of filters in. I can keep them with the cleanest water possible. Now you guys are looking at this and thinking, well, look at all that shit on the bottom. Well, I did a water change yesterday. That's how many fish are in this tank. So it's a fairly high maintenance schedule, I guess. Water changes happen a couple times a week on this tank. And when I do a water change on this tank, it's literally a 50% water change. This is one of my only tanks in the fish room now that get just straight tap water. They get dechlorinated tap water. That's it. High pH. It's a pH of between 8.2 and 8.4, depending on the day. And they seem to do absolutely just fine with it. Just fine with it. And that doesn't bother me to do big water changes when I don't have to pay to make the water. Almost everything else is RO. So right beside it is my clownfish rack. So I guess this is where we're going to start here next. That's my sump. It's a 55-gallon sump. I got a reef octopus skimmer. I have a big old filter sock in there. Lots of biomedia. Lots and lots and lots of K1 fluid bed biomedia. It all flows in there. Scrubber pads beside that into the refugium. In the refugium, I got lots of live rock, lots of algae. There's actually a couple of corals in there too. I am going to move them out and put them upstairs where they're going to be better taken care of. And as you can see, there is a few clownfish in here too. I believe there's 4 in here. And these are guys that were just not quite up to snuff. These guys, as you can see, some of them have some gill issues. If they've had bad gill issues, I put them down here. Reason being is I've actually seen poor gill issues resolve. I didn't think it was possible, and everybody said it wasn't possible, but I'm actually going to show you cases where, yes, they have been resolved. Still a little bit noticeable, but they were bad before, but they were such beautiful fish, we kept them anyways. So I'll show you when we get to them, our absolute keepers. I think our most beautiful clownfish we have. But I think this guy's gills are just a little bit too bad. I don't think his will ever resolve. This guy is actually not bad at all now. So if they resolve, they come back out of the sump. If they don't resolve, they got a home down here. They get fed every day just like everybody else. And if I get too many of them, I will find them loving homes. This is part of the process of breeding. Part of breeding is culling. You're not going to get knockout fish every single time. You're going to get defects. You're going to get issues. You're going to get problems with your fish. Not every fish born is born perfect, just like not every human is born perfect, or any other mammal, or fish for that matter. So sometimes a little bit of culling is necessary. And I did not do that here. I didn't cull any of these. Were from my first batch, and I just didn't know what I was looking for, to be honest. I do now. So that's a refugium. It's a pretty big refugium. A heater back there, a bubble wand, another scrubber pad, a couple more heaters, my return pump, and some sponge filters. So that's the sump. We'll see if I can get my old body back up here. And yeah, those guys get fed down there as well. So I've been feeding most of my clownfish TDO. TDO is what they get. I got all different sizes. So this is the small size, and this is the size that will be fed to these guys. Don't mind the shoddy camera work while I'm trying to get some food out of here. It's hard to do with one hand, guys. Anyways, that's it right there. And they all eat very vigorously. One thing I love about clownfish, they always take food. Always take food. They love food. So one step up from the sump is a bunch of tanks that are plumbed in. Currently, I'm pretty low on clownfish, to be honest. And so this one's empty. The reason it's empty is I was actually trying to raise larvae on the rack, and it just wasn't working. Several things happened. Some things my fault, some things not my fault, but I just found there was too much room for air doing it on the rack here. So I went back to the dark, quiet room where they're on their own, and they're not going to have any issues. So one tank over from that one, and this is, I guess these guys would be about 3 months old now. And I'm telling you, there's some absolute gems in here. Absolute gems. A couple of anemones not doing so hot. Actually, I think that one back there just died altogether. Hey, Jason from Fish Tropic. How are you? We're doing a full tour here and some feeding. There's algae all over the place, but I don't mind. I don't mind algae. I clean it up once in a while, but it absolutely doesn't hurt anything. But these guys are turning out real nice. And I guess what I've noticed is my first batch, they didn't grow out on this rack. They grew out in a 20-gallon tank, very well filtered, but a 20-gallon tank, it was overstocked. There was like 100 babies in there, and they didn't grow nearly as fast as these guys are growing on the rack sump system. So water quality plays a huge role. Water quality, water stability. If you have good water quality and water stability, these guys will just grow like crazy. Yeah, they are little manja cakes. We'll give them some cake to manja on here. So again, these guys get the TDO Chroma Boost. They get the extra small size of it. I literally have to smuggle this stuff in from the States. When I order this stuff, I got to be real coy when I order it, because we're actually not supposed to have this in Canada for some stupid reason, our customs. But I get it in because it's good stuff. Terry says, I wonder if TDO is the saltwater equivalent to the freshwater golden pearls. I've actually never used golden pearls, but I don't know. I'm pretty happy with this TDO. Pretty much my food supply for my entire fish room is TDO and Northfin. That's pretty much the foods I use. I do use a little bit of omega-1 here and there. I'm not against it. I use a little bit of New Life Spectrum, but for the most part, it's TDO and Northfin. Hey, Big J, good to see you. Thanks for stopping by. Nest 2020, watch out, algae killed my fish. Well, I haven't had it kill. I would like to know how algae killed your fish. That seems kind of weird. I guess you'd have to have an awful lot of it, or maybe a poisonous algae. These guys do just fine with this algae. The last tank I scraped the algae off of was this one. This one's up next. So it's a process. I go through them and scrape them out. But let's feed these guys some extra small. I like to feed back behind the drain, just because then it doesn't go down as easy. And there's one little fella in this basket here. So I put him in there because he was getting picked on pretty badly. Let's see if we can get a picture of him. I can't see in there with that light, but we'll try. Not sure if you guys can see him, because I can't see nothing. But hopefully you got a glimpse of him. He's just a little wee fella. And these guys have already devoured that food. Absolutely devoured it. So all the fish on this rack, I try to feed 4 to 5 times a day. 4 to 5 times a day. So my larvae tank, damn, the Sabres just scored on Philly. That's bad. If we can't beat the Sabres, we're done. But yeah, so like I was saying before, if you want to breed clownfish, be prepared to give up your life, because this is all you're going to be doing. Let's give them a little bit more here. Look at that. They just devour it. And this is not their first meal today. This is their 4th meal today. So it's fun. I love feeding them. I love watching them. I love feeding them. I have a lot of them, so I don't get to necessarily watch every single one individually, but I do my very best for how many I have. You do have to be a little bit, I have to be a little bit cognizant of fish getting picked on. So clownfish are jerks. If anybody didn't know, they're absolute jerks. They're probably one of the most jerk fish in the fish world. They're beautiful, they're pretty, they're majestic, they're clowny, they're just damn well cute, but they're jerks. So quite often you end up with one getting picked on, maybe a couple getting picked on. So some of these little breeder baskets, and I just make these myself. I believe I got a video on it. Are really game changers, life changers. That way you can remove the guys getting picked on, or if you have one overly aggressive clownfish, put that fella in the basket and let everybody else have some piece of life. So the tank next to it here, there's some real gems in here. These guys, I love them. They are just your regular Ocellaris clownfish, but except for that guy there, but his gills aren't in real good shape, that buckshot there. So he's probably going down into the sump, see if his gills get better or not. But everybody else in this tank is actually for sale. If you'll notice, my Ocellaris here are quite a bit darker than your run-of-the-mill out of the store. And I think that's what makes them a little bit special. So these are probably the most boring looking of all the fish that came out of that spawn, and I still think they're great. So I'm happy with it. They're all huddling up. They're scared. They're looking at a camera right now. They're very intuitive. They know what's going on around. They know me, and they know when it's not me standing here. They know when there's a camera here. It freaks them out a little bit. So let's give them a little shot of food here. I think I'll just take this lid right off, because I don't think I'm going to be able to manage this with one hand. We'll put that back on after. So these guys get the extra small, or sorry, the small TDO as well. And once again, I like to feed back behind the drain line. Sorry for my shoddy camera work. They're a little freaked out of the camera, but there they go. They just swim over everything. Just go wherever they want. Probably the best thing you can do when you're raising clownfish is actually keep them quite crowded. Keep them with lots of fish in there. And that way one fish doesn't seem to get picked on all the time. They spread it around a little, kind of like keeping cichlids. When you're talking to guys about African cichlids, yeah, these guys are a little freaked out by the camera coming up and eating, but they will eat, and they already have eaten a lot today. But yeah, think of it kind of like if you're into African cichlids, how quite often it's suggested to overfiltrate and overcrowd your tank, only have one male for several females. Well, when you're doing a harem with clownfish, it's the same idea minus the gender aspects of it, because actually these guys are all males. They change into females. These guys are getting to the age where they are going to want to start changing, And the females are actually dominant with clownfish, not the males. So that's these guys here. And then I got one more tank, and these are all 18-gallon tanks plumbed in to the sump. I got one more tank here. This tank literally has one fish in it. I had one survivor from a batch. The little fellow likes to hide right back behind the drain pipe. Can you see him there? We'll drop some food right by him. There we go. He gets the B1 size. He's got some pretty neat little markings. He's so cute. So little. He's got this whole tank to himself for now. And it doesn't bother me. He can have this whole tank to himself. He's a lone survivor of like 200 babies, so he deserves the whole tank to himself. So that's it for that level of the rack. And he's eating the TDO B2 size. Thanks for sharing that out, Big J. I seen that you shared my video. Appreciate it. And here's the top rack. I haven't put the second tank up there yet because I haven't needed it yet. But it's right here. And it's a 20-gallon long with a divider. And then I'm going to put in for 6 spaces in it. I've already drilled it. I did all the drilling myself. Painted 3 sides. And I have a lid for it as well. So when I need it, I will put it up here. I've left lots of space for plumbing. I can plumb it right into the system, and it will go down to the sump as well. A couple sponge filters there waiting to go in. But this is a 20-gallon long divided into 6 spaces for 6 pairs. These are all babies of mine that I've raised up, and they're growing into absolute gems. Absolute gems. These guys are pretty cool right here. Sorry guys, I'm trying to get a focus. The lighting is difficult in here. See if I can get my hand out of the picture. These guys here, and they're a little freaked out by the camera as well. But there's a Wyoming Whites and a Miss Bar there. Very, very pretty. Very, very pretty pair. These guys aren't for sale yet. They might not be. I might keep them. I'm not sure. I'll tell you one thing. When you, Nicole's my partner on this. She's my partner in crime in life, and she's my partner in crime in the fish room. So she's a little camera shy. She doesn't like coming on camera, but she does take a very active part down here. When I'm at work all day, she's the one down here doing the 4 feedings a day. I do 2 at night. She does 2 during the day. She helps with the larvae. She does pretty much whatever she has to do down here to keep everybody happy when I'm not home. Sometimes there's an emergency she's got to take care of, whatever. But she wants to keep them all, I guess is what I'm getting at. So they're all cute. They're all cute. And we have to remember they're all cute, and we'll get more. So we will have to sell some, but this is my first attempt at actually pairing some off. And so far, I think we're doing okay here. They seem to be getting along. Some of them have had their big spats already. I've seen them. I've witnessed them, and I would consider them pretty much bonded. This is a really cool pair right here too. I don't know. That would be a snowflake and a snowflake and a snowflake. Some may call that a buckshot, but I would call it 2 snowflakes. Hey, Brian from Detroit Shrimp and Aquatics. Thank you. Thank you. Green Reef says, have any of the ones that you bred laid eggs yet? No. These are the oldest ones I have. I just got into this totally by fluke last summer. These guys are 6 months old now. They're not quite old enough to breed. They got a little ways to go yet. We're still in the getting them to change from male to female stage right now and pairing them up. So yeah, these guys are pretty cool right here too. Couple of Wyoming Whites. don't think anybody has changed here yet. I think they're both still males. They're both small still. I don't think they've sorted it out yet, but they're very, very cool looking too. Awesome, awesome pattern and color on them. And then these guys, they're kind of boring looking, I guess you could say, but much, much darker than your regular Ocellaris. And I like them, and I believe these two have actually paired up now. I believe that is the female right there in the cave. She's got some neat markings on her as well. And there's that guy waiting to see if it's okay if he can go in the cave. And same with these ones on the end. These ones are actually spoken for, though, on the end here. Nicole's grandmother, Marion Dearsley, Grandma Dearsley as we call her, she acquired, I don't know how she did it. I didn't have nothing to do with it. Actually, I had quite a bit to do with it. But she got a fluval marine tank for Christmas, and she got to pick whichever one she wanted out of these clowns, and these are the ones she picked right here. So as soon as we got her tank cycled, going, ready to go, ready for these guys to live a healthy life in there, these will be going to her tanks, and I'm sure I'll still be able to take videos of them at her house as well when I go to visit and help with her tanks. So that's my clownfish rack. Pretty neat, eh? It's been an experience, to be honest. I am not a marine guy. Believe it or not, I am not a marine guy. I'll tell you how much experience I have with marine. About a year and a half ago, I got a green spotted puffer. Well, I decided I was going to make a 65-gallon tall upstairs into my puffer tank, and I was just going to keep it brackish for him. Well, I got real bored with that real fast. I didn't have any other cool brackish fish in there for or with them or anything. So I decided to convert my puffer to full marine. And when I did that, I purchased a pair of clownfish, I purchased a dory, got some corals, some live rock, all that, and our clown spawned. So we decided, I'm going to blame Nicole actually. She said, oh, why don't we raise them up? I said, okay, let's research. And that's what we did. Research, research, and research. And if you're going to try it, I suggest you do the same. Research, research, research. And we were not successful with our first batch. And we were very successful with our second batch. And these guys up on the top of the rack are actually some of the offspring from our second batch ever that we hatched. So, and it's been up from there. I've seen a bit of a niche with clownfish in Ontario, Canada. There's not a lot of people breeding them. And I thought, you know, for all the bad things in marine, doing marine tanks and everything, taking wild caught fish out of the ocean, taking live rock, taking corals, all this stuff, why don't we try and do a good thing? And the good thing is breeding captive bred clownfish, so we don't have to take them out of the wild. We don't have to import them from other countries now. We can raise them right here. The fish will be healthier for it. Even if I get ramped up enough to be able to supply stores, I'm sure they would much prefer to have fish that were raised in Ontario and not shipped overnight overseas from out of country, and their fish will be much, much healthier and happier for it. So that's what our kind of mission is with the clownfish, and it is slowly taking over our entire fish room. Anyways, we've talked about 50 minutes about clownfish, so we should probably move on here a little bit. Beside the clownfish rack, I have another small rack with 8 aquariums on it. And I guess we'll start at the top and work our way across. Oh, we didn't feed these guys up here. These guys are going to miss a meal. These guys are going to miss a meal. So let's feed them. Let's get the appropriate size. This is very hard with one hand, but I will do my best. Couple there. There. I usually pour this into my hand and then in, but I don't have, they just gorge themselves. Just gorge themselves. I don't have a spare hand for that, so I'll just be very delicate with. I don't want to overfeed them. There's those guys. So there's a lot of feeding to be done here. Lots of feeding. It takes more time than people think. But feeding them so often gives you a good chance to actually observe them and look at them and be able to tell if you got to make adjustments or if there's a problem or if it's a good time to check your water quality, your salinity levels. Make sure there's no ammonia in the water. And as you see, there's 4 sponge filters in here as well as being plumbed into the sump. We keep an awful lot of biological filtration for these tanks. Okay, now that we didn't forget to feed these guys, we'll get some rapashi ready here because the next fish we're going to feed are going to need a shot of rapashi. That's as easy as it is with rapashi. These guys will not come out right away, but they will come out in a little bit. So we'll feed them first and then we'll come back to them. Yeah, Green Reef, it will be cool. I'm waiting to see if I can get 2nd generation clowns. So like I said, we'd come back here to this 90-gallon grow out, and there you go. That's how many Plecos I have in this grow out tank. Just a little bit of a ball on top of that rapashi. There you go. I still love breeding Ancestress. They're still my bread and butter. Everybody wants Ancestress. Everybody. Oh, and we didn't have a look here at these little fellas. They're all over the rapashi in there as well. There's actually, I don't know if we can see it. They're all freaking out because I'm opening the lid. But I want to see if we can see him. One in here is like tiger stripes. There he is at the top of your screen. A couple have turned out like tiger stripe. They're really, really neat looking. Tough to see with the bubbler going, but some very, very cool colors and patterns going on there. And I believe that that is a result of a brown short fin bristlenose and a green dragon short fin bristlenose cross. That created that, which is pretty cool. Usually they just go brown. Usually they just stay brown. When you cross a brown with something, they usually just stay brown. Oh, you like your autos? I've actually never kept an auto, Terry. Never had one. Never kept one. So a couple of these came out. These are, and they just scooted back as fast as they came out. But these are, I have 6 in here. There is 6 green dragons growing out to make a little breeding group out of them. That's a hard yes, Terry's tropical tanks. I'm Canadian, man, from Ontario. Of course, I'm a Letterkenny fan. This tank here, and all these tanks right here, these 6 tanks, are 20-gallon cubes. They're a very, very, very awesome size tank for a fish room. If you're gonna have space-saving tanks in your fish room, these are the shit. They're the bomb, man. So here is a very, very water lettuce. If you look from above, this tank's actually beautiful as water lettuce. Look at that. Kind of looks like crap from the side because I haven't trimmed the roots forever or anything. Look at that. Isn't that gorgeous, guys? Absolutely gorgeous. Just stuffed with water lettuce. And I pull it out quite frequently too. But this tank is water lettuce and Caridinius shrimp. These are all my red wines, red pandas, whatever you want to call them. Red King Kongs. You'll see a fork there. That's for holding zucchini down. Well, let's give them a little shot of rapashi here, and we'll see them all come up to the front of the tank too. In fact, I'm going to cut off a few slices here, and preemptively, don't need much for shrimp. Just the tiniest little slice. They don't need that much. That's 1, 2, 3, and 4 for the shrimp. Perfect. Hello, Crystal. How are you? Glad you could join us. We're doing a quick and dirty fish room tour here. And now my rapashi's stuck together. There we go. So we'll drop that in. Sure it hits bottom. Gets through all that nonsense. And we'll drop this one in now too. And when we get to that tank, they will all be up front. Drop them in here too. And again, hopefully they're all up front by the time we get down there and we can have a good look at them. I see Brian was here from Detroit Shrimp. I think he could have some appreciation for my shrimp. Kind of getting out of the shrimp game though. I actually am debating on selling these guys, to be honest with you. Just the shrimp, they just haven't been holding my interest like they used to. Green Reef says, thanks for the info. We are about to try raising our first clutch for real next Monday when it hatches. Very cool, Green Reef. Very cool. Let me know how you make out with that. We actually have a hatch that's ready tomorrow. Tomorrow night we have another hatch, and it is actually a huge clutch. So hopefully, fingers crossed, we get a good clutch, and so do you. So let's get some other Pleco tanks. We actually have some pretty cool. We have some pretty cool Plecos here too. These are some Plecos that I've been working on for 6 generations. You know, we were talking about it'd be cool to have your 2nd generation of clowns. I'm on 6 generations for my ancestress. So this is an ancestress tank on the top rack. They will come out very, very shortly. These are gorgeous, gorgeous young long fins. Gorgeous young long fins. And same as this tank here. There's a young male there. And for the first time, I actually got eggs out of this guy, but he kicked them out of the cave. These are the caves we make. Make these wood caves. I like wood caves. I like wood caves and I like alder cones. Alder cones and wood caves make me happy and make my Plecos happy too. So we'll give them a minute just so they maybe will come out and quit being shy with this camera in front of them. I could see this big fella already working his way up to the front. He smells the rapashi. There he goes. It's a little skittish. Look at the jungle. Thick, thick jungle. Everybody talks about getting fancy aquarium lights for their plants and everything else. Guess what, guys? I use 4-foot shop lights, 4-foot LED shop lights. That's all I use for aquarium plants. Look at this jungle. You can't even see to the back of the tank. It is just an absolute healthy jungle. So, while those Plecos are coming out, we're going to feed another tank here. And this tank is a very new endeavor for me. I've been successful with breeding Fisher woodcats. And this is my Fisher woodcat. All I did, be honest, was threw a pile of eggs in here, and I call it my breeder's choice mixture of plants, which is guppy grass and Christmas moss and all kinds of crap all mixed together. Throw it in there, and it's all kinds, at least before these guys were born, all kinds of biofilm and lots of goodness for them to eat, and a lot of alder cones to help stabilize the pH in this tank. But as you can see, it's hard. All you're getting is a reflection of me, I can tell. I'm sorry for that. It's hard in this fish room with so many lights everywhere. But they're everywhere. Everywhere. So let's feed them and watch the feeding frenzy. What these guys are getting is peppermill grind. I'm going to have to set this down for a sec. I give them 10 turns. All as these guys do is eat. They will eat all that food. And now the feeding frenzy begins. Look at them blasting everywhere. I wish I could actually... Hello, Muppet929. Welcome. I wish I could zoom in a bit, but I can't. But these guys, look at them all. They all come right out of the woodwork and the moss and stuff and just pig out. Pig out. These have got to be one of the fastest, these are the fastest growing fish I've ever owned. I've never seen faster growing fish than these, and I will show you some bigger babies, what size they are and how old they are, and you guys won't believe me, but it's honest to God truth how fast and big these guys grow. Look at that. This tank gets straight RO water. Straight RO water and lots of alder cones for the tannins. Hello, John McKenzie. Welcome. Welcome to the stream. Lots of tannins. I like using alder cones. I use alder cones in most of my tanks. Does good things for your fish. Helps your fish breed. Helps your eggs from developing fungus. Helps your fish from developing bacterial infections. It is a natural remedy. And in most parts of the world, you can very simply go out and collect your own. I collect them by the shopping bag full when I go collecting. But this, I think, these aren't everybody's cup of tea, but I'm having a lot of fun raising these guys. A lot of fun. And to be quite honest, I don't know anybody else in Ontario, Canada who has them. Somebody else must, because I got mine. I got mine from the London aquarium auction a year and a half ago as babies and raised them up into adults and bred them. I have never seen them for sale other than that. So we're going to take advantage of the ancestress being out at this rapashi in the tank next to us. We'll move really slow. Maybe they won't freak out and take off. They really don't like this camera. But there you go. There's some of my 6th generation longfin ancestress. They're coming out absolutely beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. Huge fins. Huge long fins. And these are young fish. These are only a year old, these fish. And like I said, we had one batch of eggs, but that's all we've had so far. But rapashi gets them out every time. And that male, he'll breed again very soon as he can trap a female in that cave. Some people might wonder, well, why do you use a wood cave? Well, ancestress like to chew on wood, and biofilm grows really well on wood. So I figure, why not make wood caves that they can get food as soon as they start rasping on the wood. As soon as they're hatched, they start rasping on the wood. And I'm sure they're getting some nutrients. Fish Tropic says there's someone in Scarborough that breeds, I'm guessing, Fisher woodcats. I've never seen them, Jason. Never seen them. They don't advertise too much. If they do, they're very, very prolific. Like, look at all the babies you get from one hatch if you're successful with it. From one hatch. And I've had no problem selling my bigger ones for good money, too. But there you go. There's the future of our long fin ancestress breeding program here. Nothing on the blue phantoms yet, Fish Tropic. We're going to get over to them in a minute, but so far, nothing. I got a male that holds to one cave really well. I got the pH down to 6, but so far, no breed. He's going to have one hell of a set of horns on him by the time he's done maturing. His horns literally just started growing. So I'm looking forward to seeing how he turns out. Nice straight fins, nice straight dorsal fins on him. Pectoral fins, beautiful. And directly beside my ancestress is my red crystals. Look at that buried female there. And that buried female there. And that buried female there. Lots of buried females in here. Lots of babies. Lots of babies in the jungle. Look at that beautiful rotella. Some guppy grass. Some melodia back there. A little bit of everything. Babies all over the place. Beautiful. And a couple of green dragons. We got little green dragons everywhere. And while I'm down on my knees here on the lower level, because I probably won't be able to get back down here again because my back is in rough shape. This is my blue bolt tank, red bolt tank. I've been getting a few red bolts being dropped here, but there you go, Brian. There's some Canadian shrimp. Lots and lots and lots of shrimp. Yeah, I don't know, Fish Tropic, about Jason, about dropping the pH. I got it down to 6. I may try and drop it down a little lower. I may try a different diet, and I may, as many fish keepers struggle with this idea. Many fish keepers struggle with this idea, and that's called being patient. I have all the patience in the world breeding fish. This is probably my very best attribute of being a fish breeder is I am extremely patient. You can't force your fish to breed. So I'm patient. I try to offer them what they need, what makes them happy. And hopefully, and 9 times out of 10, I get the results I want from being like that. So there you go. If you're into Caridinius shrimp, these are Caridinius shrimp. It's funny, Muppet, but it's true. You know how many times I tell people that you can't force your fish to breed. They're going to do it if they feel like doing it. This tank here, I have literally done nothing with forever. There are a few shrimp in here. There's not many. There's a few. Good luck finding them. It's a pretty thick tank. Oh, and our lights just went off here. It's a pretty thick tank with algae. But yeah, that tank's gonna get tore apart. I think it's gonna become a catfish grow out tank. So that rack is out, but we've seen what we needed to see on this rack. And we got everybody fed on this rack. These guys will be a lot less shy now. The lights are out. But we will move along. Right, Terry? That's about it. But then I'd forget to turn it back on. Oh, and by the way, for anybody who's watching, terrible, terrible 4-0 Buffalo, second period. Again, here's another tank I just haven't done anything with. There's a few cherry shrimp in there, some crazy moss and elodia and rotella. Hell, I don't even put water in this tank half the time. It's just here. I really should do something with it, but I've been so wrapped up with doing the clownfish and everything else. I just don't have time sometimes. So I should either do something with this or take it down, because I don't like having half-assed tanks in my fish room. And as most of you can see, I mostly breed. I don't really keep tanks, a lot of tanks, just for keeping tanks. I do keep this one. This is a 180-gallon. It's a 180-gallon tank, and I am actually breeding Parasip nipigrenus in this tank. I do have some beautiful specimens. Many of these came from Terry Clement's. And I have some albinos as well. Not to mention some beautiful ancestress in here as well. So let's drop some food in here. And once again, I'm just going to put the camera down while I do that. And we'll talk about this tank. We'll talk about this tank for a few minutes. This tank's pretty special. We've done some pretty cool things with it. You want to talk about filtration? This tank is like the filtration king. If you notice, as you can see, I just put some grind in so everybody's going nuts. And I'm going to show you some baby ancestress. Look at all the ancestress coming out of the woodworks. We got some baby nipigrenus in there. Ancestress everywhere. Some of these are retired pairs that I had, and some of these are pairs that I've just decided to put into a harem. That guy's gorgeous, and he does have babies right now, so he won't be out for too long. I love the algae all over that log. And look at the flow. See the duckweed up top? That's called flow, people. That's called circulation. There's no dead spots in this aquarium. This aquarium is powered by a Fluval FX6, a Marineland 360 canister filter, and an Pothos Aquaponics System on the top that has, as you see the pump there, pumps water up into the system, and there is the return pipe from the aquaponics system. And it does more than you think. There is an awful lot of plant there. An awful lot that comes all the way down the sides, up the wall. Just a little grow light on top and a 4-foot LED light there. Yeah, aqua balls, it's yeah, you have to be patient. If you're not patient, it's not going to work. You have to be patient. I do anyways. It works for me. Thank you for the comment on the nice plants. The neons, yeah. So, well, yeah, they're called Parasiprocremonas nipigrenus. There's a male. He's pretty fancy. Pretty fancy. There's another fancy male back there. If I can get them to come right up front. I'm pretty male heavy in here. Yeah, they're hard to find. I believe you're in Los Angeles, if I'm not mistaken, if my memory serves me correct. Actually, there was a guy, like I said, that bred them. He literally lives 2 hours away from me, 2 hour drive. So I first got some at an aquarium auction, and then I actually found out who brought them to the auction, and then I got some more off of them privately after that. Here's some babies over here. Sorry, the side of the tank is a bit dirty, but there's an albino baby right there. I think there's 4 babies in this tank about that size right now. Now, we'll see if we can get if you're going to be you need to have lights if you're going to be a Pleco breeder, because everything is done in darkness, but I don't think we can zoom in enough to be able to see here with this system. I don't know if you guys can see on the bigger screen. By the way, there you go. See them in there at the back? This guy always chooses a slate cave. Always chooses a slate cave. Look at that. So they still got pretty big egg sacs on them. So another probably 3 or 4 days, and I will pull those guys out and put them into the breeder basket on the 90-gallon tank and raise them out. And they will be gorgeous, beautiful, long fin ancestress. Look at all the ancestress. It's almost a waste. I have so many in here. I'm actually thinking of selling a few pairs out of here. I have so many in here. One thing I'll tell you is, see the horns on that guy? On Dad? Is if you have this many ancestress in a tank, chances are, I'm not saying this happens all the time like this, but chances are one male is going to do all the breeding. One male will do all the breeding. They're very territorial, and they got a hierarchy. And this guy over here, he's the boss. He's the boss. That's a boss in this tank. This guy here, the albino, that's his dad right there. That's his dad. He used to be the boss. He's getting older now, so I guess he gave up being the boss. He's still a beautiful specimen, but he's not the boss anymore. That fish there is about 6 years old. Hello, RAY Aquatics. Welcome. Yeah, Aquaballs. I love this tank too. I love this tank too. It's I've had this tank for a while, and it's gone through a lot of transitions, but I think it's at my favorite right now. The only thing that's going to make this tank better is as I grow my Nipagrenus colony. That will make this tank even better. If I could have 30 or 40 Nipagrenus swimming around here in a huge colony, that'd be awesome. This tank will be 100% then. I like keeping things natural. I like natural looking things. That's why I don't scrape the algae off this stuff. I keep this algae on, and with all the flow in here, it flows with the flow. It just looks so cool. Same with this moss. I don't take the duckweed or anything out of it. I just leave it. It's just a big clump of moss. It started out as a little weed clump. I leave it. To me, that's natural. Quite often when I'm sitting in my office chair, this is the view I have of this tank. So it might make sense to everybody now. Look at that view. It just looks like you're looking into a lake. You can barely see to the other end of the tank, and you can see everything from this side. And this is my view from my computer chair. So this is what I'm looking at, guys. Aquaball says, I just lost all 5 longfin albino that I got from my local fish store. Didn't make it 2 days in a quarantine tank. Oh, that's crappy, man. And I know you're a very good fish keeper, Aquaballs, so that tells me that you got some real unhealthy fish from your local fish store. These guys are hardy, man. Like, it's hard to kill them. It would be very, very hard to kill them. Very, very hard. But anyways, guys, that's the 180. This aquaponics system, it's been going. I guess I'll talk a little bit about it. I don't know if you can even see inside all that. But there's I use just the clay balls for media, hydroponic balls. Clay media, they're neutral. They don't alter the pH at all. And yeah, water flows in, water flows out, cleans the water, and makes my plants grow beautifully. I'll just do this just for reference. I got big mitts, guys. I got big mitts. I'm an XL mitt. That's the kind of growth we get out of the pothos system here. Huge leaves, huge leaves. They're all huge. Beautiful. Hackball says, I got some from a friend, like 5 of them, and they are all alive and growing. So good. I know how good they are. Yeah. Most definitely. All right, moving along here, guys. Moving along. We are now at, I'd almost like to leave this to the end, but we're at my favorite fish in this fish room downstairs. My favorite fish are upstairs, but we're not going upstairs today. These are from my breedings. My very first batch I ever had of clownfish. These are my favorites. They look like they're hand painted. Look like they're hand painted. I don't even know what you would call these for a designer name. I don't put a lot of stock in most designer names because I find everybody who has figured out how to breed clownfish just comes up with their own names for their designers anyways. We call these guys puzzles because they look like puzzle pieces. Dark. They're dark, gone very dark as they've grown older. They're being camera shy right now because they noticed the camera in their face. But these two had not real great gills when they were younger, and their gills have actually improved to the point where it does not bother me at all with their gills. Not flaring out much at all. The one on top is a little bit, but I am not worried about that at all because I think that'll get even better as they grow. But these guys are not going anywhere. They're not for sale. They won't be for sale. We're keeping these guys until they die of old age. Maybe they'll breed for us, maybe they won't. I don't care. We're keeping them because they were from our first batch, and we've just fallen in love with them. So this is where it's at. This is what we're after. If we could peg one pattern, this would be it. If this is all I could breed was this pattern, I would breed this pattern. And that is just personal preference. It's not because they're worth more money than another pattern or anything else. Although you could get $200 for this pair any day of the week. We love it. We love this pair. So I'll go get a little pinch of food for them, and we'll give them their evening snack as well. They get the North Fin krill. We're going to give these guys the extra small size just because they seem to take it just a little bit better than the small. They're not quite way too much food. That's why I usually pour it in my hand. But that's okay. There's no bio load on this tank, so they'll be absolutely fine with it. And this is how easy of a tank you can make. These guys are getting a new tank. We're going to get them a little fluval 13.5 gallon marine tank for these guys. I'm a fan of those little fluval tanks. They got everything built right into them, made for marine. But this is as simple as marine could be. This tank's not visually a nice tank. It's not nice to look at. It's got, oh, I really overfed them. It's got this curved glass. It's distorted and you don't get a good view. So I got a crummy piece of live rock in there with a pistia all over it, and bubble algae and everything. It looks like crap, I get it. But this is where they are until we get them a little fluval tank. Just a simple LED light, hang on back filter, and bubble algae infested sponge filter. That's all it takes. They're living the life. Look at all the space they got. They hardly ever leave the area around the pot, but they got this whole tank. But it's theirs, and theirs alone. Hope you guys like our choice as much as we do. But if you don't, it doesn't matter because we still like them. So here we have a 65-gallon freshwater tank. And this tank has a homemade light on top. I didn't even cover the wiring up. It's an old 65, no brace. And I'm almost willing to call this the geotric tank. These fish are getting old in this tank. I've been getting a lot of losses lately. I've lost most of my tiger barbs now. That's my oldest living tiger barb right there. That is actually one of my baby tiger barbs that I bred. That's my oldest living Odessa barb male there, and you can see he's starting to droop a bit, but he's old. And then we have a few of his offspring in here as well. The female, she's on her way out. Poor girl. She's old too. But you could tell she's struggling a little bit. Just old. It's a fact of life. Fish get old and fish die. If fish die in my tank of old age, I don't feel bad about it because I know I've given them a good life. Odessa barbs and tiger barbs generally just do not live that long. These guys are pushing 5 years old. And that's pretty old for an Odessa barb. These rainbows are the same age. These are New Guinea Red Rainbows. If any of you are familiar with red rainbows, you know you're looking at some of the nicest red rainbows you've seen. This is a gorgeous group. This is a group of 12. And guess what? I started with 12. I've never lost one. Never lost one. Look at all the Christmas moss in this tank. Again, I like natural looking tanks. What this does, these guys breed all the time. All these guys do is breed. But they lay their eggs in the moss and the other fish eat them. It's I don't keep any of the eggs. I've never kept a rainbow egg. I don't have Fry the barbs right now, Jason. I don't. I have these barbs. These are the only barbs I have right now. I kind of got out of the barbs. I got bored with breeding them, to be honest. So I moved along. I did it, tried it, was successful, and moved along. So no, this is all I got. You need females, eh? I believe my friend Steve Langley has 15 of my females in Barrie. So I'll talk to him. I was going to give him a couple of males. I'm pretty sure I got that right, that he's got 15 females. They're not red Iranian rainbows. They're red New Guinea rainbows, I believe. So let's give these guys some grind. These guys love the grind. Oh, and I didn't mention, I do have, you won't see them in here because they're extremely good hiders. Oh, there's one back there on the fake pillar, broken pillar. I do have a group of ancestors in here, and the male generally breeds right in that cave right there. But he's not, he's taking a break, I guess. So once again, I got to set this thing down. like I said, I like to use the pepper grinder because it brings these all these pellets come down into all different sizes. So every different fish in here, you can fit them in their mouths. Here we go. Ancestors are going to come out of the woodwork now. And I'm just waiting to see if my old buddy's going to pop his head out here somewhere. And I'm sure he will. He never misses a meal anymore. This used to be the shyest fish I ever owned. I didn't even know I still owned him half the time because I never saw him. And if you seen him, he would freak out and dart back under the sand, and you'd never see him. But it's actually it's a horse-faced loach, and I'm hoping he comes out and gives you guys a show. He generally comes out, but maybe with the camera in my hand, he may not. Let's just give him 1 sec here, see if he pops his head out of the sand. He'll bury in the sand. Oh man, this guy's been a pain in my butt, but I love the guy. Hello, Kevin. Thank you very much. Thanks for joining us. So we'll give him just another sec here, see if he pokes his head out. Maybe he's camera shy. But yeah, like I said, he used to be the shyest fish I had. But we've known each other for a long time now. He's not shy of me anymore, but he might be shy of the camera in my hand. Well, I'll go to the next tank and I'll see if he comes out front and center. And if he does, we'll go back and have a look at him because he's probably the biggest horse-faced loach you've ever seen. They are ugly, you think, aquaballs. I think he's gorgeous. He's odd. We'll call him odd. We won't call him ugly. We'll just call him odd. She's like, I don't know, 6 or 7 inches. He's a big boy now. He, her, I don't know. I don't know how to tell the difference. And I only have one of them. Would have been real neat to try and breed them. I only have one, and I've only ever seen one. No, not coming out. Ha ha ha. Yeah, they're shy and ugly. I guess you could call them ugly, but really, there's a lot uglier fish. I bet you ancestors are way uglier than they are. And quite frankly, these guys are way uglier. Way ugly. These guys are so ugly, they're cute. That's one of my Fisher woodcat females. There's one of my L128 blue phantoms. There's my male Jason. There's my male L128 blue phantom, and there's his favorite cave right there. And there's my other L128 female. There's ugly, people. You want to know what ugly is, man? That's ugly right there. That's my male. That's my male Fisher woodcat. That's ugly. We should set up a fish dating site. Pimp your fish. I don't know. Apparently my fish are ugly. I wouldn't get any bites. Aquaball says, someone had a Facebook photo called "This is the ugliest fish in the world." And I responded with the mud skippers photo. And I said, no, this is the ugliest fish. Yeah, mud skippers are ugly too. But again, they're so damn ugly. They're cute. Kind of like these guys. Hello, Atkins. Welcome. Welcome. Oh, you got 3 females? Oh, that sucks. That sucks. Well, I know Mike at Fanatics just put up a sales flyer on Facebook. He spewed it all over Facebook. So he's got, he says he's got some over 5 inches. Maybe you could go pick up a male. Kevin says, any tips on, Yeah, flower horns are ugly. Kevin says, any tips on gold spotted butterfly pleco? Seen one at local fish store for $3.99. Nope, no tips on that at all, Kevin. I've never owned one. Sounds to me at $3.99. It's probably just a common pleco. Don't quote me on that. I didn't see it, so I don't know, but that sounds awfully damn cheap to me. Sounds awfully damn cheap. Hey, Gnarly Fish Tanks, welcome. So yes, this is my 75-gallon Fisher Woodcats and L128 tank, and I do have one L106 orange seam in here as well. We're going to need the light for that, though. There he is right there. Sorry for the dirty glass. That's my L106 orange seam right there. And yeah, this is where he hangs, man. I keep looking in there to see if I could see some eggs. No eggs yet. I don't know about the avocado Plecos aqua balls. I don't know anything about them. Jason asks from Fish Tropic, how am I lowering my pH? Right there, my friend. Alder cones. Lots and lots of alder cones. Alder cones and maple leaves, or oak leaves. This is my bag of alder cones. I throw them right in, stick and all. And straight RO water. My TDS sits at about 40 in this tank, and yeah, everybody seems to like it. Yeah, Atkins, these are Fisher Woodcats, and I have babies in here as well. So these are, believe it or not, the biggest. I'm going to scoop one just so you can get a better look. Kevin, I do not for that tank. For that tank, I do not. For my shrimp tanks, yes, I do. For that tank, I do not remineralize it at all. And that's because I want it low. And I use the alder cones as a buffer. So in other tanks, like my shrimp tanks, I use ADA Amazonia as a buffer to keep my pH low. In this tank, I want it bare bottom, so I can pick up all the woodcat eggs as they are laid. And so I just use alder cones as the pH buffer, and oak leaves as well. Yeah, I do sell the Fisher Woodcats here. Here, I'll grab this one. This fish, right here, when they're done losing their shit. Give me one sec. You don't want to be caught. And I'm doing that with one hand. Okay. That Fisher Woodcat right there is about 2 inches. It's not a month and a half old. Did everybody hear that correctly? The biggest fish in this basket is 2 inches, and it is not a month and a half old. Crazy, right? Absolutely crazy. These guys grow so fast. It's not funny. All the ones you see in this basket here are just ones that I've seen in the tank. So when I let them, they just scatter eggs everywhere. When they scatter eggs, and then the babies will make their way to the top of the tank. And they will hide in all this duckweed, water lettuce, everything else up here. They just hide in all this. And when I see them in all this, I keep another little net nearby right here, in fact. I keep this little net nearby and I just pluck them out, and then I put them into this container right here beside that container. And I let them get so big in this container until they're not going to get eaten in this container. And yeah, this is a pretty new venture for me, but I'm really enjoying raising these guys. They are actually really cool. They're generally pretty active if you have some dither fish, and they actually work really, really well as dither fish for many, many shy plecos. It actually makes the plecos come out more too, and they all enjoy the same water because they come from the same rivers. They're all coming from the Amazon rivers. So I will just make sure I caught everybody on here, and then I'll feed these guys for you. You want to see a feeding frenzy. Kevin says, I do not remineralize my RO tanks either. I'm at 6.5. Yeah, if it's working for you, Kevin, you shouldn't have to remineralize. I do for my shrimp. Like I said, just because they require those salts. They require those shrimpy salts, those minerals, to keep good shells and whatnot. So I do it for them, but not for these guys. Hey, Steve Langley, good to see you, buddy. Yeah, we do a bit of mad scientist stuff around here, Jason. So let me see if I can do this while hanging on to the phone. Give them some grind here. There. This is called a feeding frenzy, people. These things are crazy. These fish are absolutely crazy eaters. Look at that. Isn't that satisfying watching your fish go that nuts for food? So these guys are actually ready for sale. So if any of you are local to me, I do not ship right now. Do not ship, but if you're local to me, give me a shout. We can work something out with these guys. But yeah, I'm having a lot of fun with them. I'm actually going to keep a few of my babies to put back into the breeding pool, so to speak, that I'm going to raise out. I'm an advocate for these fish, and I'll tell you why. Because they're so damn ugly. So ugly. Like, this is an ugly fish, man. I think they're dead half the time when they're sitting there. They look dead half the time. Yet they come out. They eat very voraciously as well. And that is as big as they get. They don't get any bigger. So you don't have to trade them back into your local fish store or build a pond for them when they outgrow your aquarium or anything else. If you can handle a 65-gallon or a 55-gallon aquarium or bigger, then these are the catfish for you. They don't get any bigger than 10 inches. And yeah, they're just really cool catfish. So let's feed them. I don't think we have a whole lot of bug bites left here, but no, we don't. Their favorite food is bug bites. Let's see if they'll go for some shrimp pellets. They may. And if they don't, the Plecos will. Like, they don't mess around. They don't mess around when they eat. They just eat and eat and eat and eat. Now, that is one thing if you're going to keep fish or woodcats with Plecos, you have to make sure you add another source of food for the Plecos as well. These hemi-ancestors I have in here, just look at that. That's gone. All that food's gone. Yeah, I have 3 of them, Terry. And no, I didn't know I was getting a trio. When I bought these guys, they were like the size of these guys. Um, they're not sexable at that size. The way you could tell the difference is there's the male there. He's smaller, skinnier, and he's got that weird ass dorsal fin. He's got the crooked dorsal fin, and that's how you can tell the difference between a male and a female. They're violent breeders. They actually do penetrate each other when they breed. The male will wrap himself around the female and penetrate her, and basically rape her. And next thing you know, you'll have eggs all over the bottom of the tank a short while after. It's pretty violent. I haven't got it on camera yet. I've tried, but it's a pretty. He doesn't keep his women real happy. It's a pretty quick experience. Yeah, they basically choke each other out. Well, the male does. He wraps around the female. It's terrifying to watch, actually. It's like, holy crap, what's happening? You don't even, and then it's done before yeah, no rape footage, bud. None. And quite frankly, he shouldn't be proud. It doesn't last very long. It's only good for about 30 seconds. That's why the females look so mad all the time. I don't know. But yeah, that's the Fisher woodcats, ladies and gentlemen. And frankly, that's my fish. Sorry for the really long live stream. This has been an hour and 45 minutes. Actually, I'm going to feed them some fry starter. We will give these guys. Oop, caught my microphone on there. Oh, yeah, we're heading through meta. We're almost through meta. We'll give these guys one more shot of food here, and then they're done for the night. That will be 7. Well, I didn't have you to gab to here, Steve, so it's I gotta make it shorter. I could only talk so much. You do most of the talking for me when you're on. But we did a pretty dirty, quick and dirty fish room tour. Try to do one a year at least, because everything has changed so much since I've gotten into salt water, breeding clowns. And these guys are happy. Hello, Michael. Well, hey, man, it's not the length of time. It's the quality, I guess. As long as she's happy. Or he, or whatever. I don't know what everybody's into these days. But what I do know is that Philly's still losing 4-0, which is pathetic against Buffalo, just saying. So, there we go. My hat's all crooked and shit, but whatever. But anyways, thank you, everybody, for joining me on my fish tour. I'll hang out here with you for a couple more minutes, just if any of you had any questions or you wanted me to go over anything else real quick. I got a few lights on here still. I'll just set this up so I can sit down for a sec. Oh, doesn't even want to stand up. I think I got my tripod all messed up here from all my moving around. Hey, yes, welcome. I'm sorry, unless you were just creeping, you missed most of her, but we're almost done here. It was nice. I haven't done a I haven't done a full fish room tour live stream in so long because I don't usually do this. I don't usually do this mobile thing. It's hard carrying the camera around and stuff. I usually set myself up here and just move my camera around that's attached to my computer. Steve, yeah, they're doing good. They kicked those eggs out. They kicked those eggs out. So yeah, the last generation parents gave them the boot. So I didn't bother collecting them and putting them in an egg tumbler or anything. I'm again, we spoke where I spoke. I say we. I've been doing all the freaking talking. I spoke about patience and whatnot, and that's part of patience for me. If he booted the eggs out, that means that either he's not up to snuff yet, he hasn't figured out what he's doing yet, and I'm very confident that he will. So I'll just wait for the next. I'll just wait for the next set of eggs. I don't need. I have lots of fish. So I don't have to worry about. I don't need that batch of eggs. So we'll just wait for the next batch. If you watch the replay, Steve, you'll see. You'll see the golden ancestress that's heading to your house on the live stream near the very beginning. Terry says, before you end the stream, let me say Google Golden Pearls fish food. I've heard of it. I've just never seen it for sale. You'll see BRS sells some of the sizes, and Brine Shrimp Direct sells all the sizes. It is also a larval food, like what are you using? Well, that's fantastic. I will definitely have to check that out. The problem here, Terry, is being able to get some of this food in Canada. Like I said, I got to basically smuggle TDO into Canada already. Reed Mariculture was nice enough to ship it to me last time, but we had some huge custom problems trying to get it over the border. It was delayed and it took forever. I'm glad I got it, but it took a very, very long time to get it in. S asks, how much do clowns sell for in Canada on average? The same as the United States. If that's where you're from, our clowns sell for just as much or more. So like your regular Ocellaris, just your plain Jane normal Ocellaris. If you go to Big Al's to buy them, you're gonna pay, I believe, about $30. Yeah, you're gonna pay $30 a piece. You get into your Wyoming Whites and whatnot. They're usually, if you're at Bay, we're talking retail prices at stores. You're talking usually about $90. Same with most of the designers are generally about $70 to $90. Yeah, I should fish Tropic. They have them advertised all the time, but they're fairly expensive. When you get into a lot of money when you're getting into pairs, when you're getting into designer pairs, and then when you get into proven breeding pairs, through the roof. You could pay. I know Robert Kingfish. He sells proven pairs for $2,400 a pair. So it all depends. It could be anything. Most pairs you can get for about $200 up here at a high end. A couple $100. Yeah, Terry says we'll send up a toy train. So you're a Trailer Park Boys fan as well. What that was with? I remember that episode of Trailer Park Boys. That was with Sebastian Bach, and they were trading cigarettes for weed, for hash. No, oil. It was oil. Weed oil. Yeah, Steve says they had a frostbite pair before Christmas for $200 at Big Al. So yeah, you're looking at about $200 for a pair. A lot of guys too, you got to be real. So yeah, why don't we go over a little bit of this? You got to be careful when you're buying clowns. Careful. There's a lot of people spread a bit of misinformation, I guess. People are selling clowns that are an inch in size. And you can see they're taking pictures of them in their tanks to sell them. In the pictures they're taking, or in harems, like my one here. Let's walk over here. Let's look at what, instead of looking at my ugly mug, let's look at what we're talking about here. Sorry, just flipping this to the back camera. Okay, so when we're looking at clowns, and I'm seeing people advertising clowns and taking pictures like this. So they're taking pictures like this, other clowns, and advertising them as bonded pairs. Well, I can tell you that there's not a bonded pair in that tank. There's not a bonded pair in that tank. They're a harem. Those are all males. Okay? So if someone's taking a picture of their clowns like this, and then they're telling you that they're selling you a bonded pair, they're full of shit. Bottom line, they're full of shit. That's a buyer beware situation. So these clowns are over an inch. These guys are an inch and a quarter-ish. I don't think they're an inch and a half. They're an inch and a quarter, maybe a little more. I don't know. But I can tell you that there is not a bonded pair in this tank. So if I'm selling you clowns out of this tank, I'm telling you that I'm selling you 2 male clownfish. That's a good way to buy them. Don't get me wrong. It's a great way to buy them. If you're going to buy clownfish, buy them at this size. Buy them as males. Let them sort it out themselves. But don't sell them as a bonded pair for $200 because they're not. These have the possibility of being bonded pairs, but I actually believe that most of these are not bonded pairs yet either. I believe those 2 are, and I believe these 2 are bonded pairs. Maybe these guys, but only time will tell. And I can tell you right now, I wouldn't be confident to say that any of those are true bonded pairs, and I would not sell any of those as bonded pairs. For a couple reasons. A, you're ripping somebody off if you're telling them they're a bonded pair and they're not a bonded pair. Bottom line, reputation is everything in the fish world, especially with live streams, YouTube, Facebook, everything else. Your name will get slung through the mud if you start ripping people off all the time. Bottom line. So I wouldn't do that. These guys, I would be selling them as 2 fish, but I'm just not selling them right now. So be careful. Watch it when people say, I'm selling you a bonded pair, and then when they take a picture like this, no, those are not a bonded pair. Not at all. So a little bit of buyer beware there. People telling you a bonded pair, because what could happen is you could get them home and you think they're a bonded pair, so you're not paying too much attention. Next thing you know, one of your fish is dead because one went female, became dominant, went female and didn't like the male and killed the male. That's what could happen. That's the potential to happen out of that. Check that pair out. That's a pair. I love that pair, actually. I think this pair here is actually turning into my, and I'm calling it a pair, but they're mine and I'm not selling them, so I guess I can call them a pair. But these 2 I'm trying to pair up. They're gorgeous too. I like those 2. They're not my absolute favorite. My guys over there will always be my favorites, but they're a really nice pair too. But for asking for prices, yeah, so when these are bonded pairs, most of these fish across here, maybe not these guys because they're kind of normal looking, but most of these guys would be $200 and up pairs when they're actually pairs. So I hope that helps a little bit with some questions about the clownfish. Anybody else have any more questions? And I'm sorry, my thing here is very slow at getting the questions, but I think we're probably good for tonight, guys. That's been 2 hours. 2 hours is long enough for a live stream for me. I know I can talk, but I can only talk so much. Thank you, everybody, for joining me on my live stream today. We'll switch this around to say my goodbyes. Getting this figured out. Perfect. So yeah, thank you, everybody. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Terry, for moderating for me, a new moderator. I don't even know if I made Steve a moderator yet. Anyways, if anybody wants to be a moderator, just ask me. I don't care. I'll make you a moderator. I don't get enough people on my live streams to even really need a whole lot of moderation going on. But yeah, anyways, everybody, happy Monday. And happy fish keeping. And until next time, take care, everyone. Bye for now.